are listening and watching news from other dimensions. Why can I inform you about what's going on in the other dimensions? Because I have had an awful lot of training. One of the things that helps you to be a really good psychic, and this is the case for most of the psychics that are world renowned, is an electrical accident. It poof, expands your mind. Drugs, such as LSD. And today, we're not going to have a very organized chat. It's my birthday. And I have two dogs that are really curious about people that are moving in next door. So hopefully they won't be barking. But let me tell you about what would be my birthday, about me. The only reason I'm saying this is because I want to stimulate you to ask questions about you. Hi, Maria del Carmen. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me on my birthday. So I was born, supposedly, June 29, 1948. It has been said that my talisman is here. It's my dog. And my dog is ready to come and be on my lap to stabilize me emotionally and energetically. So here, we're ready. There's Lucky Lola. So it has been said that all those interesting kids that started to be born 1948, 1949, and I believe the first ones were born in Argentina, came in because of the Roswell crash. How do I just say that? Well, it's information. Seems to me that if something's going to happen to me because I talked, it's not going to be about this. Because all you have to do is say, come on, that's not true. Okay, so listen to this without accepting that it's true, but it's just information. And at some point, you may find yourself referring back to this. So since 1948, a lot of very interesting type children have been born, much brighter than those that were born previously, much more multidimensional. And they come in with a mission. The mission is to help the planet on the transition that we are perhaps going through right now, that the Schumann resonance charts seem to be indicating this incredible frequency shift that's very positive for our spirituality, not real positive for institutions, because institutions need for things to be kind of slow because they have all those people and rules and regulations that are part of their process. So there's going to be a gap. There already is a gap between our spirituality, our development mentally, spiritually, other dimensions, our reach, and the institutions that we've always relied on. We're going to be very angry at institutions. But the truth of the matter is, we set them up so that we would have stability on the physical dimension. And right now, the physical dimension is a tremendous handicap for all of us. So the souls that were coming in after 48, I don't know if all of them or most of them, some of them were called emerald children, indigo children. They came in to help, but many of them came in to help with the intention of helping, even if it created problems for them. That would include probably most of the autistic children that have been born since then. There were very few before then. Were there any? I don't really know. So these new kids, new types of kids, were born to help this transition. But our school system is not equipped to deal with human beings that have an expanded consciousness because we have overvalued, perhaps it was a necessary stage for us, the limitations of the physical dimension. But these kids are not limited. You don't know how many children told me 30 years ago, at that point they were adults, that when they were in class, that they would get bored, because that's the problem, they get bored, that they would practice seeing if they could have influenced their teacher. Like they would tell the teacher to take their glasses off, and the teacher would take the glasses off. Or they would tell the teacher, lift your left arm, and the teacher would lift their left arm. That's magic, but they never told anybody. This was like a secret. So a lot of our children are magical. And by the way, they need those skills to protect themselves in the other dimensions. So the planet, apparently there were agreements, planet Earth was going to be defended from interference from other galactic places and beings, that protection ended. I don't know if it ended 6 months ago, a year ago, it ended. So we are getting hit with realities and we don't quite know what to do with it. But these children came in, that includes me. So I was born after 48. Practically all of you. Today I'm 75 years old. So practically everybody was born with an expanded consciousness and with a mission that's very focused, which is to do whatever necessary to help people evolve at this time. But we're not allowed to remember. And there we go with my story in the 90s when I started therapy. This is 30 years later of therapy, but in the 90s I started. And my sister, who's very bright, said to me when I was recollecting the program that I was in used torture, all sorts of things to stimulate us running into the other dimensions to escape the horrible reality on the physical dimension. And she said, you chose all of that, right? And I said, you would have to be like really dumb to choose these awful happenings. And no, I'm not that dumb. I did not choose this. She was right. I wasn't ready to accept it. I needed to be a victim. I needed to be a victim. Even though I have to say that the first thing I tried to do when I started with my memory retrievals and therapy and all the rest of that was I wanted to find out the nature of evil. And I'm going to tell you that question has not been answered yet. I didn't get the Catholic Church. I spoke to a priest. He said, you just have to accept. He was very irritated at me. I mean, how dare I ask that question? I asked a lot of people. The only person that was really able to help was a rabbi who said, listen, we really don't have that answer. But I have a rabbi friend of mine in New York, and he's a psychologist, and he takes care of somebody who has stories very similar to yours. Stories. I was really talking about my history. By the way, none of my therapists ever questioned anything that I said. In other words, they're not supposed to question you. They never questioned that my history, that what I was recounting, sharing was real. And I actually asked them, do you believe me? And they all said the same thing. Yes, we believe you. You have all the symptoms. You have the body memory. It's horrifying to think that this could happen. But yes, we do believe you. And that was kind of sweet. I actually ended up working with Dr. Colin Ross, who specializes in mind control victims, military mind control victims. He also takes care of people that are part of trying to get out of satanic cults or got out of satanic cults, etc. So if you look him up, you'll go, my goodness, that was where I ended up because my therapists in Miami, associated with the University of Miami, said that they could not take care of me ethically because I was still being abused, which was true. That was a Cuban mafia that did not want to let me go, did not want me to be a free person, wanted my services free of charge. So I did choose this. And all of you that are listening to this chose what you're going through in your different countries, in your different positions in life. The quickest way for you to be happy, which is going to make everybody else unhappy, is to find out what you're really feeling. What are you really about? Are you about all that stuff that you learned that you're mimicking? Or are you about something else? Is there something that you need to do and you don't quite know what it is? then I'm going to suggest what I found out was really totally helpful. Because in the 90s, I started to sabotage my business full time. I was going to go bankrupt. I had 30 some employees. I had a 3-story building that I built, that I owned, a zillion customers where we service with the most important event in their life, which is weddings. So interesting, so different from what it is that I do. And I was sabotaging it. I was going to go bankrupt. Actually, I was bankrupt, but I didn't accept that, which is kind of neat. So it doesn't really matter which situation you're in. Just don't accept it and figure out what you intend and just keep going until you get there, because that is what I did. But I did do one thing, which I'm recommending. I spent a year, as soon as I realized that I was literally, oh, no, 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 not there. I'm talking to my dogs. No, 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 no. Come on. I spent a year repeating this mantra. And it's repeated in silence. Please, God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. Because at that point, I lived very nicely, thank you. I worked with luxury goods. I lived a luxurious life. And I didn't want to be poor just because. And I'm going to stand up now and I'm going to grab my talisman, because my talisman's mission to protect me apparently gets overshadowed by whatever might be interesting happening next door. Lucky, why don't you come on over here? Come on. Okay, so I did that mantra for a year, and I said to the people around me, I need to get out of here, because I just need to get out of here. 30 years I was there. And I was able to leave. And I didn't take a drop in salary. And I was bankrupt when I left. In other words, my husband at that time, we had not divorced yet, said to me, but you can't leave. How can you leave? This place is sinking. I'm leaving. I don't think it's going to sink. It's going to sink under me. I'm going to take it down because I need to get out of here. And it didn't sink. It's 54 years old now and has a very prominent position in this country in that field. I haven't run it for 20 some years. I think it's 20 some years. You need to do the same thing. What is your mission? The world is tough, 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 tough right now. Tough. But you came here for a reason, to help out. You don't know how many women I have taken care of. That doesn't happen so much anymore, because my group, Mantristas, we kind of have the tools now, the other dimensional tools, mantras, mudras, visualizations, opening the crown chakra so we can have faith. But when I started, I got so many martyred females, Hispanic females. And it reached a point where I said, this is a message. I can't be getting this many people that are so martyred. And it was accurate. Most of them were illegal immigrants. That alone is enough to put you in an insane asylum, the fear. So I said, I need to understand why it is that this is what I'm attracting, law of attraction. Well, you know what? I was a martyred female. Love, the kids, the husband, continuing in the business because I don't want to leave those people behind. Can't do that. So I did the mantra because I needed to align with what it is, the reason why I was born, which is this. And I was able to make it happen. My intention made it happen. So please, please, here's the mantra again. Please, God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. So we have a planet full of souls whose consciousness is expanded. And we live in the same kind of world, same institutions. It's no wonder it's been said that everything's going to collapse. Those institutions cannot support what we came in to do. All of us came in to do, including people that you consider bad guys. I'm going to stand up and grab the dog. Lucky, come on. Give me a second. Nope, we're not going to be. Okay, so here we are 2023, everything is literally breaking down. I mean, our school system is ridiculous what we do to our children. Ridiculous. We get so disconnected. We see spirits since we're born, and we are born in a society that said they don't exist. We go to doctors that cannot take care of us until what's broken in the other dimensions in our energy body breaks the physical body. You have to wait for your physical body to break down for them to take care of you, at which time it's so much harder to take care of the issue. So we're living at a time that doesn't make sense to us. And the day that we accept that, we become very lonely because everybody around us has not been ready. That is changing. In my case, I ended up having a lot of very intuitive. Let me start with the fact that I only did what I did in Spanish because, and I'm going to say it, the people that handled me, they didn't really care what I said in Spanish into Hispanics. And yet, in the program I was in, they favored Hispanics because of the natural intuitive abilities. I never said that, right? I never said that. We can get that edited out. Okay, so we are all here. We don't know that we all have one mission. Now, there is a person that we all know, the owner of Twitter, Elon Musk, who's totally aligned with this mission. And I can tell that he gets a little bit rattled because it's like he's trying to explain to the rest of us. And yet the rest of us could actually take in and make what he's saying operational, but we can only do it if we get in touch with what we are, which is multidimensional beings that enter the planet in order to help this transition. And that now we don't remember. Those veils in Spanish, they call them veils of velos de olvido, veils that make you forget. And that's what they are. Those veils are coming up. So we went from, there's always been spirits. It's always been the basis for disease and hatred and everything. But no, they don't exist. Okay, well then we got so many question marks that it's ridiculous that any authority can stand in front of us and say, obey us. With all those question marks, you can't answer a single question. Why am I going to obey you? You have given me no questions. You're just medicating me. So we're in one hell of a mess, but we're not alone. We just think we're alone because everybody's afraid to talk. And then we get to Twitter. And then we're able to talk. But there's a problem now on Twitter. There's a problem. And I just clicked something because I threw something down because I got upset. What's the problem? The problem is that there are a lot of people who know a lot about the physical dimension. And they're taking the lead, having to do with this place that we're at, having to do with opening our awareness. You cannot have a person who is, okay, I know people are not going to like this. I admire the men that are now, I'm hearing them on Twitter because that's what the place I find most valuable. And they have all this scientific knowledge and all this explanation. They're talking about the physical dimension. When all of us that are in metaphysics, we know that when the physical dimension is a reflection of what already happened in the other dimensions. And many times it's a messed up creation. We created something wrong. We didn't even know. So they're the ones that are in charge of this whole disclosure about ETs and the spaceships. That doesn't work. I love them. They're great. They broke their backs. They have a lot of knowledge. Some of them have multiple university degrees. I have one. It's in political science. That doesn't count. Politics is not a science. It's obvious what people were priming me for because I would have never chosen that. I'm a Cancer, Mother Earth, all the rest of that, animals. So the people that we have that are, it appears to be in charge, that we're listening to, are really great people. And a lot of them are putting themselves in danger giving this information. And they keep knocking at the. I know I'm not going to get taken down, so I'm going to stop worrying about it. I'm going to worry more about the piece of mango thread that I have in between my tooth. I love mangoes. Why am I mentioning this openly? Coconut was brought to planet Earth by Lord Vishnu, and he brought it for protection against spirits, but the kind of spirits that are on planet Earth. And then I'll go back. I'm very ADD. And then mango, I don't know who brought it to planet Earth. Mango works against the devil. So if you have mundane spirits of somebody who died, they had a physical body at some point, you want to do the coconut thing. We have a coconut aromatherapy, and I know Estela Mendoza is going to be very happy when I say that I'm going to be producing it again starting next week. It is fantastic. You spray it, whatever. This is not an ad. So coconut is for mundane spirits, and mango is for the devil, which means it's for the spirits from off planet. So I eat mangoes every day. And I have a little thread there, which is very bothersome. But it gave me the opportunity to tell you about two things for protection. So we have all of these people, all of us came in. If you were born after 1948, and maybe before, you came in very specifically for this god-awful transition. What are you supposed to do? I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I just knew that I needed to get out of where I was at because it was 6 days a week. I ran a bridal salon. At that point, it was a couture bridal salon. It was still a bridal salon. So I loved my business. But at the end, when people would walk in, and coincidentally, I was near the desk, and I would have to approach them, and I'd say, "Can I help you?" And they'd say, "I'm getting married." Well, I wanted to strangle them. I was no longer happy that a customer was coming in. So I left, but I really got escorted out by my staff, who said, "You know what? Maybe you shouldn't come back. You need to retire," because I got very difficult. And you're going to get very difficult in your jobs. If there's not a place in your life where you are giving your soul satisfaction, that you are intending on doing what you decided you wanted to do before you were born. Now I just thought for a minute, my God, am I giving this in the right language? Yes, this is English. This is Twitter, this is English. This week we started our Twitter. We started a separate space on Twitter in Spanish because I would like for everybody to have the experience and the advantage of Twitter. So you can check us out there, and the posts are going to be different. Even the horoscopes, when I do them in Spanish and I do them in English, it's different information. It's compatible. I have no idea. Maybe it's a filter that I have. This is what the Hispanics will tolerate. This is what the Anglos will tolerate. I don't know. Okay, so you are here for a reason. I did not choose it. I didn't choose you to come in. I didn't choose that you come into this lifetime. And again, going back to all of those people that were so martyred, who were basically law of attraction, putting it in my face how martyred I was. All of those people, I would say to them, because it would come up in the reading, you did not choose to be born to suffer. You chose to be born because you have a mission. You are suffering due to how you positioned yourself in order to fulfill the mission that you chose before you were born. And somehow that made it easier. Even when I finally, way before I accepted what my sister said, which was, you chose this, just the fact that I heard it, I was having a hard time screaming quite that loudly about my victimization, mainly about the abusers that were still around and still abusing. It's not easy to get out of victimization when you're still getting victimized. And that continues today. It's better because at least today people believe me, where then they didn't. I was like, what happened to Francis? Because it was a secret. So You have to align with your mission, hopefully consciously, and it doesn't really matter where you work or what you do. You're going to feel a soul satisfaction that you cannot get any other place. If you look at Elon Musk, at how happy he can be, I'm sure he has some depressions because he can see what's going on the planet and probably his own personal life. That's human. But when you see the level of joy when he does something he decided to do, fueled by his intention to help us, you can have that also. And you cannot be, you have to love what you're doing in order to do well in what you were doing. I loved what I was doing. And I took my business from a very poor store with one dress on the mannequin, which was the dress that my sister wore, same sister. Her wedding dress was the dress on the mannequin. And if people walked into my store in 1969, I believe was the year I started it, oh, I'm getting married, I'm gonna try something on. I would go, okay, give me a minute. And right in front of them, I had to dismantle the mannequin and take off the only dress we had. We were poor as church mice, but I really loved what I did. And I wasn't a designer, even though people thought I was a designer in the beginning. I would say, I'm not a designer. Yeah, but look what you did. But I'm not a designer because I really wasn't. But I had an intention of my clients being happy, being good at what I did. And I took it to like number 7 in the country out of 12,000 stores. Now it's much higher than that uh, because the person that's running it is actually a business person. I wasn't. But even not being a good business person, I was able to do extremely well because I loved what I did. And then I didn't love it anymore. And then I had to leave. And I did. So what I'm telling you is you can stay where you're at a while longer while you do that mantra. It will give you a soul satisfaction. You declare to the universe, I'm going to align with my mission. What is it? I have no idea. Am I going to be able to earn a living? I have no idea. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to align with it. I want to do it. And somehow, as in my case, things just come together. I can tell you, and then we need to end this because I'm already at 28 minutes. This is ridiculous. I just started talking 2 minutes ago. I enjoy what I'm doing, so it goes very quickly. When you are aligned with your mission, even if you're bloodied on the floor, but you have already determined that you have this need to do something important for the planet, for people, the spirit world steps up to bat. When you are just robotically going to work, doing whatever, even if you're earning a good income, your spirits are sitting on the sideline, filing their nails, scratching their ear. The minute you determine, I need to do something that really feels important for the world, those spirits step up to bat. And if you get really into your mission, you get a new set of spirits. Your spirit guides are aligned with your frequency. And if you're earning a living, even if it's a lot of money, and you're not happy, that's not a good frequency. Because you see, your frequency is not the amount of money you put in your bank account every 2 weeks from whatever. So you even get a higher level of spirits because you have aligned with yourself. Because your mission is all about what you decided to do before you incarnated. I'm going to have a very cranky editor if I keep talking, but I think I'm going to keep talking a little while longer. I'll deal with him later. I ran out of things to say. I guess I'm thinking about the editor. We're going to close it down right here. It's always a pleasure to do these chats. I need a co-host badly because I think people like it better when there's somebody else and there's an interruption. I haven't found one. Okay. But we're looking, and we're going to be doing these in in Spanish also. So I'm Frances Fox. We're here 2 days a week, Tuesday at 6, Thursday at 3. We developed this into a podcast with wonderful music, which is why I can't get cranky at my editor, because he's the one who does the music and the podcast, and he's really good. And they are in the usual podcast places. I don't have a place to put it here yet on Twitter. They're not set up for that. But we are on Spotify and on Stitcher and on iTunes. So, and Spotify took a stand also having to do with weirdness. They allow weirdness. So when I promote my stuff, I very much promote where I'm allowed my weirdness, which, by the way, should be front and center for everybody right now. I really appreciate you listening. And if you could share, that would be great. We need to share with people the fact that they're not crazy when they're not satisfied with their life, even though supposedly they have everything that they need and want. We need to share our experiences, and we need to make what we do look kind of fun, which, by the way, it is. Let me remind you again of the mantra, which is repeated in silence. Please, God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. So, what would I say to somebody who's already aligned with their prosperous mission? Elon Musk, myself, other people that are already doing what they think is important. They're already delivering the message, helping, whatever. Add the word gracefully. Please, God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission gracefully. And that'll smooth out wrinkles. Okay, I'm Frances Fox, and this was News from Other Dimensions.